Today, we're diving into neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's incredible book, The Strange Order of Things, and is built around a pretty radical idea. What if our feelings aren't just some random byproduct of our minds, but the very foundation of, well, everything, from our consciousness all the way to our entire culture?
So let me just start by asking you a question. When you're making a big decision, do you treat your feelings like a bug in the system? Something you gotta ignore to be purely logical? Or do you see them as a crucial feature? For centuries, Western thought has pretty much told us there's only one right answer.
And yeah, this slide pretty much sums up the conventional wisdom, doesn't it? On one side, you've got a rational thought, the cool, efficient hero. And on the other, emotion, the messy, disruptive villain that we're always told to keep in check. Well, Damasio's whole point is that this entire way of thinking is just wrong. And to really get why, we have to go way, way back, to the very beginning of life itself. Okay, Section 1, Life's Ancient Operating System. This is where Damasio really lays the groundwork for his whole argument. And trust me, his starting point is probably not what you'd expect.
That's right. To understand the mind of a genius, or the art of a master, Damasio says we have to start by understanding bacteria. I know, it sounds a little crazy, but his genius is in connecting our most incredible human achievements back to the most basic biological drives, all governed by one fundamental principle.
And that principle is called homeostasis. Now, this is probably the most important concept in the entire book, so let's be super clear. Homeostasis is just the constant, automatic effort of any living thing to stay in a state of balance. It's the drive to find food, to avoid getting hurt, and just to keep things stable on the inside so you can survive. It is, like the slide says, life's original operating system.
And you can think of this slide as showing how that operating system got its upgrades over billions of years. Right? It started with just simple chemical signals and single-celled organisms. Then, as life got more complicated, nervous systems came along to coordinate everything. And finally, feelings emerged as the ultimate guidance system. That feeling of pain or pleasure or fear, that's not just random noise. It's actually a super sophisticated data report on how your body is doing, telling you exactly what to do next to stay alive and thrive.
So, Section 2, the mind embodied. If feelings are basically data reports from our body, well, that leads to a pretty profound conclusion. The mind can't be separate from the body. They're not two different things. They're one integrated system.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. That old idea of the mind just being a computer inside your skull, totally separate from the quote-unquote messy body, it's just wrong. Our physical experiences are constantly and deeply shaping how and what we think.
And honestly, this feels really intuitive when you stop and think about it. We all know what a gut feeling is, right? Well, that's literally your digestive system sending data up to your brain. Or think about how you might gesture with your hands when you're explaining something. You're not just illustrating your thought, the movement actually helps you form the thought in the first place. It's all one connected system.
Okay, so we've established that feelings are this amazing guidance system for survival, and they're rooted in the body. But how in the world do we get from a tiny bacterium just looking for food to a human being creating a masterpiece? That's our third section, from survival to Shakespeare.
Believe it or not, it all comes back to that same simple, ancient drive for homeostasis. That relentless, biological push to find a state of balance.
And that is the very same engine that fuels our greatest cultural creations. This is maybe the most profound leap in Damasio's entire argument, that things like art and science and even philosophy are all just highly advanced extensions of our basic biological need for balance. Here's a really powerful example. According to this idea, when Van Gogh is painting, he wasn't just painting sunflowers. He was actually engaged in a desperate act of homeostasis. His art was a tool, a cathartic way to manage his intense internal turmoil and try to restore some sense of balance. The art was a solution to a biological problem.
And this doesn't stop at art. As you can see here, this idea really applies across all of culture. Science is a quest to create intellectual order out of chaos. Laws and moral codes, those are systems we design for social stability. It's like a kind of group homeostasis. Even our curiosity and creativity are, at their core, driven by that same biological need to find better, more balanced states of being. And that brings us to our final section, our feeling future. If we accept this idea that feelings are the engine of life and culture, what does that mean for how we should think about ourselves and build our future?
This table really shows what a huge paradigm shift this is.
In psychology, feelings are no longer separate from thought, they're essential for it. In neuroscience, the brain isn't just an information computer, it's a life regulator. And check this out. In AI, it suggests that if we ever want to create true intelligence, we might have to build embodied systems that can actually feel their own state of being, not just crunch numbers.
So, look, if there's only one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. Feelings are not a bug. They're not noise. They are life's guiding compass, an incredibly sophisticated tool that has been honed and perfected over billions of years of evolution, all designed to guide every living thing toward well-being.
And that just leaves us with a final, really big question. If we actually start treating our feelings not as some weakness we have to overcome, but as our most ancient and fundamental source of wisdom, where should that compass guide us next?